I am Toastmaster Fazila, the host of the Toast Area 2 podcast, a podcast that is aimed to connect the Toastmasters community in Bahrain. Our guest today is Toastmaster Dunya Al-Hayali. She is a pharmacist. She currently serves as a network accounting manager for Pfizer in northern Iraq. She's a passionate advocate for diversity, inclusion, and equity, and successfully led the Pfizer Iraq DEI, which is Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion project, in 2022. She is the club president of Erbil Toastmasters Club, where she helps members develop leadership and public speaking skills. So, without further ado, hello, Toastmaster Dunya. Could you please introduce yourself?
Hello, Toastmaster Fazila, and thank you for hosting me today. My name is Dunya, and I am a pharmacist. I love to start by the pharmacist part. I graduated in 2006 and used to work in healthcare industry. I worked there actually for like around 9 years, and then shifted to the pharma industry. And I'm currently doing my doctorate studies in addition to other ongoing courses. I currently serve as a president of a club in the north of Iraq. It's Erbil International Toastmasters Club.
Okay, so when did you first start being interested in Toastmasters?
I used to see Toastmasters activities on Facebook, and that dates back to around 2018. Positive vibes were coming out of the photos shared. People were improving in a healthy environment, by which I mean a supportive environment where they could thrive and change into a better version of themselves. At that time, I was very occupied with my work. I had two jobs actually, AM and PM. And for that reason, I did not have the flexibility to attend. I wanted to, but I couldn't. Then I had a career shift. And for the new job, I had the PM free. And in addition to that, I needed to strengthen my presentation skills. It was eminent because there were presentations that had to be done every month as part of my job there. So I said, it's the right time. That's it. I'm going. So I went there. I joined the first meeting as a visitor, of course. I was so excited, so thrilled. I love the environment. So I joined as a member on that first session, and there the journey began, and it continues until today.
That's great. I was recently on another podcast with somebody, and she also mentioned something about Toastmasters being a very positive learning environment.
Indeed.
So, during our first meeting, when I asked you to introduce yourself, you seemed to be really interested in diversity, equity, and inclusion. When do you think Toastmasters carries this principle well?
Of course, let me tell you, Toastmasters carries the values of respecting, serving, and supporting people to become better leaders. If you look at this sentence, there is no single word that specifies a gender, a religion, or ethnic group, or any other type of segmentation that we usually apply. Everyone is welcomed. Everybody is welcomed with open arms to join and to learn and to thrive. That alone is the main indicator of being diverse and inclusive. You welcome everyone from different backgrounds, you embrace those differences, and you support them. If you are a member in Bahrain, you can attend a club in China. And that is the true essence of it. Pathways are designed as per your needs. Mentors are assigned depending on the requirements of each member. And that reflects equity, equitable access to learning. Our club, for example, in Erbil, is very diverse because it's in Kurdistan. Kurdistan is a province in Iraq, and the people there are Kurds, but we have lots of people, including me, are Arabs. So you find Kurds and Arabs in the same club, and you find different religions, different cultures, different educational backgrounds, and we embrace those differences. So we live by the values of D&I at Toastmasters.
What got you interested in advocating for DEI?
I think most of what we advocate for comes from either going through the hardship itself, being exposed to that hardship, or having empathy in a way that makes you understand people's hardship and advocate for it. For example, at work, we focus on patients' equitable access to medication. And equity is one of the values that we work by. On this level, we were on the of building a diverse team. We needed more representation of women, more equitable opportunities for every team member. And that pushed me not only to say that I am an advocate, but to work on that part. We say that we are advocates, but we show it by implementing, by working, by putting the effort. So we started working in teams to implement those values and look for change in outcomes. And due to those efforts, of course, we managed to apply the diversity, equity, and inclusion values at work. And the efforts continue because this is not a one-time job that you do. You need to continuously any gaps, any discrimination happening, to any underrepresentation. And then your job as an advocate starts.
It was very informative. Thank you so much for that. So, do you think that Toastmasters benefited you in advocating for social causes?
Of course, yes. Because as you see, Fazila, the essence of Toastmasters is giving. When you join, the first thing they teach you is that this is a responsibility. It's not just you learning, it's you giving, supporting others, taking accountability. And that empowers the empathy part in you because you start caring about the ones next to you. You start thinking what they need. You start thinking of how to fill the gaps they have, how to solve their problems. And when you empathize, you become an advocate for any social cause that you see as a big gap or a hardship that people are going through, people who are your team members at Toastmasters. For example, what is most relevant to me is the health access and equity. This is the main or the closest to my work, which became the focus of my studies. That empathy that I learned at Toastmasters helped me think of other people and started researching within this area, and I still am trying to find solutions for the gaps that we have in the healthcare equity. And I think Toastmasters attracts the people who are already seeking to learn how to give, how to advocate for others, how to empathize for them.
Okay. So, as the president of your club, how would you implement these DEI practices in other clubs as well that do actually want to embrace diversity? Maybe there are clubs that are for only adults, or maybe there are clubs that were only for specific group of people, say Indians, and then later they wanted to diversify. What would be your advice?
I would recommend or I would advise that first the people within each club need to sit and start recognizing the need for the diversity, equity, and inclusion values. They need to recognize that we do need to be diverse and inclusive. When they address this, when they recognize the need, they can address the gaps. What gaps do we have? What solutions do we need to find? Are we missing a diverse culture, a diverse background, some other religions? We need to mix, we need to learn. They address it and then they start working. The work starts with the officers because in any club, the responsibility falls on the officers. They signed up for it. They said we are accountable to take care of other members. So you start working on the officers. You need to embrace or let's say implement the values within the journey of the officer in order for them to reflect it on their members. One approach that we applied this year at Erbil Toastmasters was an approach for reflecting the equitable access to learning, that we include everyone. everybody's included. We wanted to teach everyone how to lead. We wanted to give them the opportunity of leading. So what we did is we opened opportunities for other team members to join the officers board and learn from them, take their roles, and see if they like it or not. By that, we gave them equity and inclusion. And of course, we had a very diverse officers board. Another approach that we usually implement is embracing differences. We celebrate the different religious, cultural events. We recognize our differences. We learn from each other, especially as I told you in Erbil Toastmasters. So you decide how you can implement DE&I by first addressing the need for it. Thank you.
That's great. There are actually a few clubs that I know that are actually interested in expanding and making their clubs more diverse. So I hope they can take from your advice. Now, about your professional life, how did Toastmasters impact your professional life as a pharmacist?
Actually, in a lot of ways. Uh, there's the pharma industry part and there's the healthcare part. As a healthcare part, as a pharmacist, it was reflected in the value of equity because you see patients and you see they need how they need to have access to their medications and healthcare services. And Toastmasters teaches you to implement equity. It teaches you to empathize. It teaches you to support and find solutions to help others. And, and that showed me the importance of giving to our patients. While on the pharmaceutical industry side, I have to be honest, the first impact people have when I start giving a presentation is, wow, where did you learn this? It's the public speaking aspect. Yes, I learned a lot of values, but the highest impact in the pharma industry is the public speaking confidence that I learned at Toastmasters. I was able to present in meetings every month, and it felt like in the beginning it was hard, yes, but then with practice, it felt like a piece of cake. And they keep asking me until this day, how do you manage to overcome the fear of public speaking? And I always say, it's the great Toastmasters.
Okay, that's wonderful to hear. So now I want to know, what do you expect the future of Toastmasters to look like?
Here's a moment of honesty. Public speaking will always be a necessity, Fazila. I admit that, and I'm sure of it, whether now or in the future, because it's how we communicate with people. It's how we reach to people's hearts and minds. In addition to the leadership and other values that we learn there. But I have to say, I expect and I see a necessity for the rebirth of Toastmasters to what this era requires as a presentation of it. The same essence, the same core, but a new way of representing Toastmasters. By that, I believe that the journey would witness an amazing growth, and Toastmasters would be a necessity rather than a development choice.
Okay. So finally, for our last question, what are some words of advice you have for aspiring leaders who wish to be part of Toastmasters?
The things I would say to them, they should put a priority and a value to work by, and that is accountability and selfless acts of giving. This is your priority when you join Toastmasters. You are accountable to give to others. If you want to be a giver, a person who thrives by developing others, and a person who enjoys a growth journey with others, you are the right person for Toastmasters. And Toastmasters is a very long journey. It is like joining a family. You don't opt out of your family, so you stay with them. You stay connected, you stay accountable, you make friends there, you mentor people there, and that keeps you even more connected to them. So I would wrap it up like this. Try to learn from this journey and try to give as much as you can during the time that you have with Toastmasters.
Okay, thank you so much, Toastmaster Dunya. As she mentioned, Toastmasters supports diversity and inclusion, and everyone is welcome. And the future of Toastmasters may actually become a necessity because of how important public speaking has become. Again, thank you for coming to our podcast, and thank you for everyone for listening. I certainly enjoyed listening to your advice, and we'll try our best to uphold DEI principles. And there's one more thing. This is your certificate of appreciation as thanks for coming to our podcast, and we'll be handing this over to you by the end.
That's great. Thank you so much, Toastmaster Fadil, for this opportunity. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. And finally, also, thank you to our moderators and specifically our Area 2 Director, DTM Khalid Jalal, for helping us start this podcast. And everyone, see you all in the next episode. Bye.
Bye.